Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Curtin back for another episode of the D.B.A.B podcast. Yeah, we'll work on that. But it's your boy
that's
Curtin
awesome.
here with Cletus. Yeah, well,
Not very
I try to
good.
make it.
It's all
I
good.
try to
Energy,
make it. I try to make it a little bit different every single time, whether it's just
juice.
one note or not. Trying to bring the juice to get the show going. It's just the two of us again, like Will Smith, right? Cletus
Just
and your
the
boy
two of
Kurt
us.
here. Everybody else is out busy. Jack is in on the East Coast as he is about to go through
Is
the
that
process
tomorrow
of. Yeah, I think so. He's about to
or
walk.
Saturday?
I think it's tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
Big shout out. I think
I forgot. To be fair, I feel bad. I knew he was going. I just couldn't remember the day
Yeah.
he was going to walk.
Yeah, I want to
Which
say
is
it's
freaking
either
awesome.
obviously because I think when we talked about over the weekend, it has to be like it's going to be a short trip for them. So I think tomorrow. I'm
Are
not
they
100%.
driving into Clemson?
Yeah, they flew into Atlanta, and I think they're not driving up, which is what we did. It's the cheapest option, and you get a little bit more sightseeing out of it too.
How far is Clemson from Atlanta?
Less than 2 hours, give or take. So, but it's way cheaper than flying into the next closest airport, which is Greenville. But it was worth it. Shout out to Jack. Congratulations. He was able to finish his master programs over the summer. And then, of course, with football coming around, he was a little bit too busy to go walk in August. But he and Hannah, and I believe Adam is with them, it sounded like, are on the East Coast. They're in Clemson to watch Jack walk across the stage there at Clemson University to accept his master's degree in athletic leadership. So congratulations, Jackie Poop.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Big shout out there. Big shout out. Yeah, it's awesome stuff that he, Jack's a hard worker. We all know that. So he was able to put his mind to something, went out and did it. And now he doesn't
How
have
long
to
did it
worry
take
about
you?
stuff.
How long did it take you and him? Same thing with him, 2 years?
Yeah, it's a 2-year program. So I started, and then he started a year after I did. So
Right.
It was kind of funny. Like all three of us could, including our former head coach. Yeah, like he started a year before I kind of convinced me to get into it. I got into it, and then we convinced Jack. So it's just like kind of like every other year we started, and now we're all done. I think Hannah's almost done with her master's program as well. So shout out to Hannah, almost there, crossing the finish line. So a lot of great things going on for the DBAB crew.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about getting mine. I've been thinking about it for like 2 years now. I just need to freaking pull the trigger and go.
I enjoyed it. I mean, depending on what you want to major in, but it was
It's
nice.
Going to be athletic leadership because I have no desire to be a principal. I really don't.
Yeah,
I really do not have any desire to be a principal.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I was more motivated for down the line because I want to be able to work up into administrative, but more athletic administrative stuff. So that course had a lot of stuff to deal with that, which was good. It was nice. It was online, so you kind of get to somewhat do it at your own pace. You don't have to worry about showing up to class and doing that kind of stuff. Where we did it, obviously the school, the prestige of it, there was a lot of current and former student athletes that rolled through that that we've all kind of had classes with, which was pretty cool, ranging from like softball student athletes, volleyball student athletes, tons of football student athletes. Like I had CJ Spiller in a couple of classes, the linebacker that got thrown out of the two. I think it was one of them was their playoff game and a national championship game for targeting.
The one with the neck roll, the cowboy collar.
Yeah, he was in a couple of classes of mine.
Yes.
So just that stuff was kind of cool. Which I'm pretty sure if you did it at any other type of school, like hell, even Bama or stuff like that, that you would come across current or former student athletes that are trying to obtain their masters. So it's just a cool little process. I would have definitely went through and got mine through the University of Miami if it wasn't 3 times the amount that Clemson was. So
right. That's very true. Do you have to pay out-of-state tuition on that?
So, like, honestly, it wasn't. I think each semester what it came out to was, I think for the year it was around $9,000 total, give or take.
Man, that's a
But
lot of money, dude.
it
That's a
is,
lot of
but
money.
of course, what what I did, I don't know what the others did for sure, but of course, I went out and got help from the government as always. So just kept adding to that little tally that I owe back to, but took the leftover amount and put it in my bank account for savings. So kind of helped me out there, but
Yeah.
Expensive paperwork, expensive piece of paper, just like my bachelor's was, but
right. Honestly, that's the only thing that's really like keeping me from wanting to do it. Is like I talked to a guy at Angel State, and I think he told me it's about 1,100 a class. About.
so it's 22. Cause you don't I don't know how if it's the same everywhere else, but we
He
only
said
had
it's
about 2
a
classes a semester. We take
how many?
2.
2. See, it's a 8. He told me it's an 18-hour program. Does that sound about
Yeah.
right?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but Clemson I
I
think
think that's
might have been 24. I don't know, some because at
oh,
Clemson I literally at Clemson for 2 years straight. So when I began in the fall, so it was 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring, 2 in the summer, 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring, 2 in the summer to finish out. I think
6, 12, 2018. Yeah, sorry guys, we're doing math. Yeah, 24.
give or take. I
Give
think
or
the summer
take.
was
36, maybe 36.
yeah, somewhere around there.
Oh,
It felt like a lot, but it went by pretty quick.
he was. It seemed like it was going. The one at Angel State was going to be a little bit shorter, but
Yeah,
he told me it was like 11 grand a class, 12 grand a class. And I
mhm.
went, holy crap! And I just
I'd be curious.
got a
I'd be
little
curious
gun
to
shy. Honestly.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see a little bit more of a breakdown in terms of how many classes you have to take. Like, what are the required courses that you're going to have to take in order to obtain a master
Mm-hmm.
in that program? And it may be financially worth it when you get it. It might sound terrible when he tells you off the bat that it's $1,100-$1,200 a class, but um,
Right.
if it's
And
2 classes a semester, you're looking at anywhere between $2,200 to $2,400 a year. No, nope,
a
that's right.
semester,
Yep, double that for the year plus summer
yeah,
courses. Yeah,
$4 to $5,000
yeah,
for the year. It's like, God dang, man. But I
yeah.
don't know.
But
That was the only thing that was like, I don't know if I want to do this, just because I don't want to. Again, I tell people all the time, very fortunate. I'm very blessed. I um did not have to take out any loans, student loans, so I
mhm,
graduate college, debt free. So
yep,
I have not had to pay back anything
that's what
to
that's what
anybody. And I really don't want to take out freaking student loans for for that. But, if you take out that, say it's $20,000, it's it's not horrible. You can get that paid off pretty quick, I
yeah.
think. And
And
especially if you
there are pros and cons to it. Like if you're able to spin it into getting a occupation or a career going that
right.
financially can get you going and move
Well,
you up the ladder and stuff, then it's worth it. But
talking to a buddy of mine, they went through some interviews at the school he's at. And
yeah,
he said everybody they interviewed had a master's.
mm,
He said the only person who did not interview with a master's was a guy who's been doing it almost 30 years.
right,
So obviously he's the only one without a master's. And so he's like, the master's is the new bachelor's degree.
yeah, for the most part. Now, how much is it? Like, honestly, like when you look at people, whether somebody has their bachelor's or not, like how much does it
Does it
does
really
it really
matter?
come into it? Yeah, you know what I mean. Like I think you got to take that into account as well for
It's like
like
having
if
your
you're
socialist composite. Does it really get you the extra job?
yeah. I think no.
Probably. It
I would
helps.
I would say a like somebody who's a social study composite is probably going to be a little bit more attractive than somebody who probably has a master's degree and just teaches U.S. history. You know what I
True.
mean? Because with composite, you have such a variety of history that you could teach, and
Yep.
makes you more versatile for a job compared to one person that kind of like pigeonholed themselves into one course subject, even though they have a master's, and they could possibly even have a master's in teaching that from whatever. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
it just depends on situations and stuff like that,
True.
and whatnot.
Yeah,
But
man. So let me ask you, how was state games? How was living within driving distance of Jerry World and being able
uh,
to go watch
it was
state football?
It was awesome. Obviously, like you alluded to, being close to it now, it's about honestly, it's like a 45-minute trek there and back, depending on traffic. Didn't really face too much of that uh, going there, but I only went a couple of nights. So, wish I
Right.
could have went for all, but the way how it played out school wise and stuff, I didn't want to miss too much there. But in the past,
Mm-hmm.
previously watching on TV, but it was good. Wednesday night was the first night. They started off with 6-man ball, which I watched some of that on TV, and still like I know 6-man. No disrespect to those guys. I think it'd be a hell of a lot of fun to play 6-man football, but watching
There
it on
is
TV,
lots of space.
yes, I think it'd be tons of fun to play. But watching it and like all this stuff, I was like, this is some of like the dumbest shit ever. No offense. I'm just for me, just being
Well,
always 11 men and stuff. And I understand the
mhm.
situation with those schools, but it's such a weird thing to watch. You know what I mean? And whatever. And I know
I'll,
there's
t-
different of it elsewhere too. But
I'll say this. Me and Keith were talking about it in the office. He coached a little 6-man before.
mhm.
He says the hardest job in football, 6-man defense coordinator.
Oh yeah, I bet.
That is the
I can
hardest
imagine.
job in football
I can
because there's
imagine.
lots of space. And I'll say this,
Oh
dude, and I'm a firm believer of this, and I don't you know may not agree with me or not, but tackling in space and working in space, six-man football players just know how to do it because they have to.
yeah, it's something that they have to combat all the time.
Yeah,
Um, so
and
it's
but
for them. For them, it's either they have to get good at it or they're going to be very bad. Like the team's going to be very bad. So
but you got two. If you have two dudes, you can go win state championship.
absolutely. So, yeah. Well, one of the games it literally felt like it was a 1v1 battle. Like they had a number one kid, a kid in number one jersey. The other
Yeah.
team had a kid with the one jersey, and early on
Mm-hmm.
it was just changing blows
It
with
was
each.
Oglesby and Benjamin.
Yeah, yeah. The second game it was just trading blows with their number one player, literally,
Yeah.
and jersey number, and eventually Benjamin kind of ran away from him. But
Well, how about this though? How many? There's what? 3 games, 4 games that were within a touchdown.
yeah, jeez. Obviously,
Belleville,
yeah,
Sock.
Belleville Gilmer was a close game. Sock PNG was a close game. Um,
Was that
Trying to think
it?
off the top of my head.
Just 2?
If I have to go through them
Duncanville beat the
all,
hell out of North Shore.
yeah,
DeSoto beat the brakes off freaking Summer Creek.
yeah, humble. Well, heck, even
Oh,
and then a little, donkey, curb stomped, Smith and Valley. Anna, I don't know, it's a beatdown because they goose egged them, but Anna won 26-0. Uh, the other
they
4A game
they
was
it
close.
wasn't even close. The Anna game was not even close.
Yeah, Anna looked
They
stupid good.
dude.
The other one, Malakoff Franklin, that was a close game.
Oh
That
yeah,
was a good one.
that was the other one I was thinking of.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Cause yeah, everything else was
And
14
then
points or more
Gunter and Tidehaven was a pretty competitive game for
for a
a
half.
while. Yeah,
For
I would
about
a
half.
lot, probably a lot longer than most people gave Tidehaven credit for.
Yeah.
Um,
Gunners is so fast. What made me and we were, me and a buddy of mine were talking about it. They've kind of gone away from that short pistol stuff and
Yeah.
gotten more to a traditional spread. But their big deal was like we're going to be able to cut people, and since you can't cut anymore hardly, it's and they're so much faster than everyone else they play. You
Now,
know,
it kind of makes sense for him to start getting into some of the components of spread because of the athletes they have. Like, all right, instead of maybe loading up the box and then just out angling you or whatever, we can now spread you out and you have one or two guys that miss a tackle and boom, we're gone. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So that was the one thing watching them and talking to them the year before about their short pistol stuff,
yeah,
running all the option stuff with it, and it's just like seeing them going inside zone, GT, power, and kind of doing what they do.
yeah,
But again, they're just so much faster than everyone they freaking play.
yeah, it's
And
ridiculous.
speed kills. Guys, speed kills.
Mm.
Um,
All levels, speed kills. I saw it firsthand. But going back real quick, the first game we saw that I saw in person, first time ever going to a state championship game live in person was Toller and Timpson. Obviously, we played
um,
Toller, have a lot of respect for them, had a great season. Not a lot of people gave,
Bussy, Terry Bussy is really good at football.
yeah, Terry Busey. I think
Busey is
Busey,
really good at football. I think it's
fantastic.
Bussy. Yeah,
One of the
he
two. If
is
he's
really good
either
at football.
Busty or Busey, and he's a thing of beauty to
Really,
watch on the football field. Toller, like I said, Toller was a good team, really good, strong run game. But Timpson brought the hammer, and I don't think Toller was able to ever recover from the early kind of knockdown, if you will, or punch early on. And then of course they couldn't touch the speed and athleticism of Timpson offensively or defensively. It was a long night for the Rattlers. But
yeah.
man, he made everything look so easy. You know what I mean? From the 97-yard touchdown pass with simple little slant over the middle, nice and effortless, gone. His touchdown run, effortless, gone. You know what I mean? It's
It,
just a
having a D1
well-oiled
kid there,
machine. Yeah.
yes, he is. I mean, you can tell he's a legit D1 kid.
Mm. And then the one thing, like, if you haven't have read about him or seen him, like, go read his backstory. It's
It's pretty
tremendous to
cool.
see some of the stuff that he's gone through and overcome, the adversity he's
Yep.
fought. Great young man. And then, like, watching him in the game, what really kind of stood out to me was like how humble he seemed. Like, he was never a raw person. He was always kind of cool, calm, collected. Like, when he threw the 97-yard touchdown pass, he kind of just walked to the sideline, like, no celebrating, no I'm the man. It was just quiet, going about his work. He scored the 93-yard touchdown. He just walked, once he got off the field, he kind of just walked back to the bench. It was kind of a weird dynamic, but at the same time, I earned a lot of respect for him as an individual because of how he carried himself through everything. Like some kids are, it's just how they are. They're wired in terms of being bashful and, you know, kind of
Yeah.
their egos can kind of get in the way or their emotions can take the better of them in certain moments. But he just always seemed to be just in the moment. This is what I do, kind of stuff. And he literally
Yeah.
played all three phases of the game for them. Like he played offense,
Yes.
he was one of their best players on defense, and he was on special teams for the most part.
Yeah. He returned punts and kicks for him. I
He
mean,
was great.
crap, man. He's special.
He is
He's
special.
he is
And
very
then
special.
the next day, obviously we were at work, but the other 2A game, which was
Albany Mart.
Albany Mart, Albany kind of, I think
God dang.
Albany controlled that game, and
Well, the kid that's going to Tech, the Hill kid,
yeah,
Mart. God dang, he's just again. But it wasn't just him. Everyone from Albany just made plays.
but they're a well coached program. A lot of those guys were on the team the year before that won it when they beat Mart the first time in very convincing fashion, and they just did it again. And Mart had a couple of guys that were hurt, But still, I think if those guys were 100%, you probably still get the same outcome because I think Albany was just that much better than Mart, um, which I was kind of not really surprised at. I thought Mart would be better than what they were, uh, but
Yeah.
but it was
Oh
still a
yeah.
pretty solid game. It wasn't a true blowout, but it never really kind of felt like a close game, like
Uh,
Mart was going to make it a game.
right.
And
The score, final score didn't reflect just how dominant Albany was.
no, it kind of flatters. It kind of flatters Mart in terms of, hey, we kind of made it a close game, even though if you watched it, it wasn't as close as the score indicated. And then in
Yeah.
3A, just starting from what was 3A, D2 was like we talked about Gunter and Tidehaven, and then of course 3A was Franklin and Malakoff. That was actually a really good game.
The
Um,
Franklin
hats off,
Malakoff game.
hats off to the Tigers of Malakoff. Defensively, I thought they played a really, really good game against. What was it the Franklin ones like a ring tee, a slot tee, um,
Yes. They call
some type of
I don't know
tee.
what slot T. Tepper kept calling it slot T. I don't think it's slot. I think it's more wing T, but it's that stuff.
It's in the T family somewhere, right? Had a huge back, big back, but I just didn't feel. Obviously, they made another state final appearance. Franklin. It's not like they were first time participants or whatever, but they
Right.
weren't to me as
Going
dynamic as they had been in the past. I know they had some guys the previous years that were their GoDaddies that they no longer have, but again, not taking anything away from Malakoff. They beat a really good Brock team, and then of course they come out and beat a really good Franklin team. So maybe it's just their year. Malakoff over there from East Texas. Shout out to those Tigers
Mhm.
there. Then we go to 4A, 4A D2, Belleville and Gilmer. Great game.
That
Probably, in
was
my
the
opinion,
game.
the one of like I don't want to say 1 and 2. I would rather say 1A and 1B in terms of great games, because this one and the other one with PNG and SOC were, I think, on the same level because they were actually good games. Um,
Mhm.
I'd probably, if you had to label it, it'd probably come down to, I don't know, it's hard. I
Probably
have to put it maybe number 2.
what Belleville Gilmer.
Yeah, like the second best
Yeah,
game.
just because you got Sock going for what 3 in a row,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
PNG obviously last year getting beat by Sock, and
yeah.
the year before, this what is that, Joseph? The second year at PNG,
I think so.
right?
Second or third
Yeah,
year has been there long.
third year at PNG, and this is second straight state championship appearance.
Yeah,
Did not realize that was Gary Joseph, Katie's son,
yeah, yeah,
until I saw him on the sideline. I'm like, oh, okay,
yeah.
I've seen that guy before.
Yeah. So funny on that. Our D line coach is Sealy. Shout out Coach Osborne, right? He's like, I guess I don't know if he knows Gary very well or whatever, but he knows Joseph. Not Joseph. That's
The
the last name.
the family.
Jeff, right? Is it Jeff Joseph?
Mm,
He knows him really well. I think the head coach at PNG, I believe his name is Jeff Joseph. I could be wrong, but excuse me. Don't hate me. But I think they used to work together like at Seven Lakes in Katy or something like that. They got to know each
okay.
other, and then of course he went to PNG and he's tried to pull Oz a couple times, but Oz doesn't. He didn't really want to go live over in that part of the state. But obviously they're really really good friends, so uh, all that kind of stuff. So a little funny fact there. Obviously I don't know him, but they know him. He was actually at
Right.
the clinic last year in College Station. I should want to talk to him. But, oh well. It was good though. But anyways, going back to Belleville game, knowing those guys, having played them the previous 3 seasons as a Sealy Tiger, it just seemed like they always kept getting better and better and better. And then where these athletes were coming from, it's just like, where are they coming from? Like, why can't we get? It's like one of those things like, why can't we get those athletes? But they finally had a year where the kind of pieces fell in line with them. They were a great group of student athletes that bought into the team concept, all that kind of stuff. Made a great run. had delivered out some ass whoopings on the way. Some very surprising scores on the way, but came up a little bit short against Gilmer. Kind of one of those things where Gilmer got hot at the right time, in my opinion. I think anytime you beat a team like Carthage, that can get your that confidence level up, especially when a team like Gilmer, they're always going to have some cat daddies around. So, like the receiver number 3, he was really really good. Their running back was really really good, number 1, I believe. So you had firepower versus firepower, and early on it was Belleville breaks a big run for a score, and then Gilmer would come down and break a big play, and then Belleville did it, and they got to the point where, you know, uh,
The slot teased the devil.
yeah, it got to the point where they kind of not I don't want to say got limited, but uh, it's not the type of offense that when you're down, it's easy to get stuff going unless you break a big play. But it's more of a we're gonna take little bits and pieces. So they kind of
4
ran into
yards, 4
problems.
yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards.
Yeah, but overall,
He,
great game.
yeah,
Um,
100%.
Shout out! It was kind of nice to see some new. One of the things that was kind of nice to see. You didn't really see it. Well, you kind of saw it somewhat at the bigger levels, but the smaller levels, to a degree, besides like your Gunters and stuff like that, was I felt like there was a little bit more of like new blood into the state
Mm-hmm.
finals. Now you have your typical powerhouses. Gunter was there, Franklin's there, um, but Tidehaven, who hadn't been since 1980, I think. I'm trying to remember, was their last state final
Yeah.
appearance. Um, you know what I mean? So
Freaking, them, you got, look at this, like the smaller school levels. Gordon, first state title since 96. Freaking beating the 2-time defending state champion Westbrook,
yeah,
45 of them,
yeah,
which is, Oglesby's their first state championship. Anna, who
yeah,
3 years before went like 3-7.
yeah.
Then Seth Parr did Seth Parr
Well,
things, and freaking
both. No, it was just Anna and Chapel Hill, like teams that probably, obviously, I don't know if Anna previously had ever been to one, but Chapel Hill was
they've
new blood, new recent
mhm.
blood to come in.
Anna has never been to a state championship. That was the first winner of
Yeah,
their longest run was last year, Coach Parr's second year, and they went to like the quarterfinals.
yeah, that's true. But
And
I
so
almost was trying to lump them in with Chapel Hill, but thinking about it more, Chapel Hill's been a little bit more consistent. Like I think the last 4 years or so, like they have made it to the state semis or further, or something like that.
well
So
they've those the running back and quarterback duo they've had the last 3 years, 4 years. They just can never get over the hump of like Carthage or whoever that other
yeah,
East Texas power over there is. They could just never just get over that hump.
they
Finally
got through
did,
this
and
year.
they did.
Uh,
And just Anna was, whew,
and it was good. They looked good. They played well. It was I don't know.
and
Entertaining to
pretty
watch.
pretty cool moment for like Anna, like I said, Coach Parr, was the old coach of Coronado
Hmm.
for a while, and Coach Robinson, the head coach at Roosevelt, where I work. Um, Coach Parr hired him right out of college, and so he left that Friday morning, like at 5 a.m. to go watch Anna play for a state championship.
That's awesome.
And he was talking to me about it. He goes, do you think, I don't know if I go, dude, go. Because I told him, said, I can promise you, if Coach Cummings at West Plains, if he ever goes, you will not see me around Roosevelt. I will be in Dallas
Right.
watching West Plains play for a state championship. I will
Absolutely.
not be in school. I will be watching. I would be in Dallas watching them play for a
Yeah.
state title.
Yeah. Absolutely. Stuff like that. The guy that helps get you in the door and helps give you your
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. I mean, if they make
Oh
it,
yeah.
of course you're going to be there. But so
Oh yeah.
that's pretty cool. That's cool to hear from Robinson and stuff. obviously, and it's special. Special for Coach Parr. He's had some great teams in the past. There's
Just
always
can
kind of
never get
tough.
over that hump.
Yeah, West Texas schools can never really get over the DFW hump for the most part, so it's kind of tough for them. But
Unless it's a special one.
yeah,
Unless it's one of those once every 10, 20-year teams
but when you
you'll
kind of
get.
so when you think about it, let's just say the last 10 years, if we can have the mental capacity to think back this far, right? Maybe last 5. I'm going to throw in Abilene when I talk about West Texas, right? More schools that way, which I know for you, they're just not technically West Texas. Neither is
It's a
Lubbock,
big country, but
uh,
go on.
but
Abilene
that
West.
way,
Abilene
but
on West.
that
Yeah,
yeah,
Abilene
but
on
that
West.
for the most part, a lot of those teams where their season ends is when DFW comes into the picture. What I mean? It's kind of similar to like the Valley schools last until the San Antonio schools come into the fray, and then it's kind of
Yep.
it's over. So it's kind of the same for a bunch of those Lubbock schools, Amarillo schools, and Abilene
Unless
schools
it's
for the most part, unless it's a team
yeah.
like Abilene that has a special year
Well,
where they're able to
but again,
make
it's
it
a
to the regional final or
once every 20-year, 10-year deal.
yeah,
I always go back to like 19 when we played in the semis at Greenwood. You know, got beat by East Texas. That freaking speed, man.
yeah,
But we're able to. And honestly, we kind of avoided some of the. We played Aubrey, which is DFW, beat them. Then we really then we Iowa Park, which is Wichita Falls.
yeah.
But everything else was like Lubbock, around our area,
Yeah, you get a
and
little
we really
fortunate
didn't.
sometimes. So you can get
Yeah,
fortunate.
it's just the right team beats the right team, and you match up better with that team than the other team.
Yeah,
It's just it's
there are sometimes it's unfortunate to where you can go through and have a district and be a district champ, and then like second round you're playing a state superpower, or it's just like why
yeah.
even win district if I'm going to get to the second
So
round? But,
like I was talking to a couple people. So when I was at Denver State, didn't get this, but happened in the past. They would
right.
win the district championship, and round two is Brock's district is Brock. You get
Mhm.
Brock. So you win district, and your reward is you get to play Brock early, which is by Brownwood.
Yep.
They got second in their district behind Wall, and their reward for getting second, they get Canadian in the second round.
It's
That's the
unfortunate,
reward. It's
you
almost
know.
better to get in that district. It's almost better to get third
Right.
because you have a better matchup.
Yeah. And you probably wouldn't
It's like,
see the other. You wouldn't see a like a superpower like a Canadian or a Brock until like maybe like the third round or something like that.
well, it's like with us this year. Granted, Wall beat the hell out of us, but you know, if we would have won district, we would have caught Canadian in the third. Well,
Right.
us getting second, if we were to beat Wall, we would have caught Canadian in the fourth,
Right.
a
It's
round
sometimes
later.
how sometimes it's just how the cookie crumbles and how they all
Yeah,
that stuff is struck out. But if you
yeah,
have a
100%.
special team, if you have a special team and a special year, and you play a Canadian or a Brock or something like that, and you knock them off, that's one less superpower, if you will, to have to contend with down the road, which could probably be favorable. But at the same time, too, like watching the state games, obviously finishing up talking about 5A, obviously Alito beat the hell out of Smith Valley, which I think a lot of people knew was going to happen. Sock and PNG round two,
PNG.
great game, great defensive battle. I thought when Sock took their first drive all the way down and scored easily, I was just like, oh shit, here we go. But PNG settled into the game. They played really good defense. It was kind of a good battle back and forth. I mean, PNG had some good looking kids, but Sock, oh my God. They're probably not as good as they have been, but they definitely passed the eye test, especially in the trenches and
Hmm.
whatnot. And then, of course, unfortunate that it all came down to where a lot of people are going to look back at that game off of a call. With the pass interference that eventually led to PNG being able to take the lead and eventually win the game. And I know X was in a meltdown afterward.
Oh God,
And
they
and listen, and I understood, like, it's hard for me to express it without, I don't want to say favoring one side or whatever, but like, you know, stuff like that, whether, happens all the time. Fouls, calls like that happen in this sport all the time. And you're either going to be on the beneficiary side of it or you're on the side that gets screwed. And sometimes it's just how it is. There hasn't been, it's not like this was the first time ever that this type of call was made in this type of moment of a game like this that eventually had a huge impact on the outcome. You know what I mean? So, um, of course, people have the right to be upset and talk about the call, da 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 da. Looking at replays there at the stadium, they didn't really truly show a full replay. They kind of just showed towards the end of it, which didn't make it like when you saw it, it didn't look like anything. It's like, oh, this is kind of a clean play. That's a bad call. But then, of course, after the game comes out and people have been watching replays and they got photo stills of, a shot by shot frame of the incident, and it's just like, there's definitely some holding, maybe holding that, extends into PI when the ball gets released, but. Uh, there's a bunch of stuff that goes into it. The decision was made, flags were thrown. That's just how it is sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's, between you and I, Cletus, there's probably been tons of games where referees have basically swallowed their whistle. And then at the end of the game, when, when stuff is on the line, that all of a sudden they rediscover what their flag is or something. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
I don't
it
care
is
if you're
what it is.
bad. Don't care if you're bad. Just be consistent.
Yeah.
That's all we ask
And
as coaches. That's all we ask as coaches for our kids
amen.
is I don't care if you're the worst official in America. If you're consistent, I at least know what you're going to call.
Yeah.
And at least I know what to tell our kids.
I agree. And another thing too that I don't know, it might have been through Jack or my former head coach Strunk, but somebody always told me, and it's something that I'll live by forever as I'm a coach, and it's just like never place the game in the officials' hands,
Yep, 100%.
because you're always going to get burned more than you get help. And by looking at that, it changes your mindset of stuff. Like people can complain about, oh, that was a bad call and it led to us losing. Da da da. I'm like, yes, very true, right? Obviously, it did, right? It gave them a whole new leash of life. They scored, eventually won the game. But let's look at the whole game and not just focus on one moment of the game. You know what I mean? Because there was tons of things that could have, if things would have been different. That game is the outcome is completely the opposite. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if they recover the onside kick, that doesn't happen. If they have if they don't let them drive down into the goal line, right? They get a turnover, or offensively, they were able to put a drive down and go score and make it a 2-score game. I mean, there's tons of things to look at besides just placing all the blame on one play. Now does that play kind of get blown up more than others? Absolutely,
Oh,
because of
100%.
the context of what occurred. The officials got involved. I think it might have been like a third or fourth down play, and that gave new life to PNG. Well, PNG too could have been slapping themselves, like we could have avoided all this controversy uh, for the game if we would have caught the ball. Because I believe there was a pick play that they ran with the receivers where the inside one went out and the outside guy kind of slanted in, and it hit him right in the hands and he dropped it. I don't know if you remember watching that, like a little pick play in the end zone, wide ass open. And I think that I could be wrong, but I believe that came before the PI call. So if they score there, then we don't have to worry about it. So there's a lot of things that go into a football game. There's a lot of scenarios that we could look back and be like, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But the reality is, what happened happened, right?
Yep.
PNG deserved to win the game, right? I felt for the most part that they were the better team throughout. Okay, now you look back on the flag, shitty call. Okay, whether you agree or not, for me, you can go back and watch replays, but the call is the call. We just got to live with it, right? me being a Hurricane fan, I understand how that feels, right? In terms of being on the wrong side of a call. Okay, it's just what it is. You cry about it. It's not going to change the outcome of what occurred, but just look back and be grateful of everything that's come before to get you to that point.
He,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Here's the thing though, with talking about calls and all this stuff, and I'm sure the state games were advertising this between commercial breaks. You know, the whole, if you want to get involved with officiating,
Yeah,
please volunteer to contact your local Tasso rep.
yeah,
Yes,
basically.
will they? Will they?
Yeah,
Are
I
they
think they
advertising
might
that?
have. I think so. I know early on, they have their typical spill of, make sure you respect the officials and their calls and da da
Right,
da. But I'm pretty
but
sure, to be honest, I wasn't
get
paying attention too
involved.
much between breaks, but I'm pretty sure that
Right.
might have been out there. But
So
just like you said, it's
without officials, we don't get to play game.
no,
As as awful as we think officials are, and as crappy as some of their calls may be, if they don't officiate, we don't get a coach. We don't get to
no.
play. Kids don't get to play a game without
Yeah,
officials.
yeah. And the one thing too
You
about
know.
officials too is just like they are not robots. They are human beings just like you and I,
Yep.
and they're going to have moments where they're perfect, where it seems like, or they're going to be as perfect as they can, and there's going to be moments where they make the wrong call, and
Hmm.
that's just how it is. Every official in any sport is never going to be a perfect official. Now there might be some good ones, and there's going to be some bad ones, but you're never going to come across a referee or an official that is perfect. It's impossible because human we're not going to be able to catch everything. Yeah, there might be 7 officials on a field for the big games. That's 14. That's 14 eyeballs, right? If I do my math correct, maybe.
Hmm.
Um, they're not going to catch everything. It's stuff's going to be missed. It's just part of it, right? So he's going
Right.
to go with it.
Or their interpretation of that rule
Right.
may be a little bit different than what you're used to.
Yep. And every crew is different. You know what I mean? Literally every crew is different. You can get the same crew crews from the same chapter, and they can all have different interpretations of rules. It happens
Yep.
every year. It happens
Yeah.
every year.
Hell, every week.
Yeah.
Because you ask a question, say, "Hey, what about this? What's this one?" Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Next crew, same chapter. You ask them, and you go, "Oh no, it's this way."
Yeah.
Well, dude, I've been told this. Last week I got told this. This week I'm getting told this. Which one is it?
Yep.
And that's when they go. Usually it's about a new rule we ask about,
Yep.
and they usually just tell you, "Man, that rule's so new. We're still learning it. We're still getting information about it."
Right.
So okay, that's all. I mean, that's all we need. That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all we
That's the
need.
one that's the one thing about me that I guess I'll get it the more I'm in it or whatever. But like the rules of the game, it's obviously like the main ones, whatever. But some of the other little technical stuff that if you ever work your way up to being the head guy, that you probably need to know so you don't look like a fool.
Well, it's like one of the newer rules this year is you can't influence the offensive lineman, meaning you can't walk up and like stomp on the ground to
Mm,
try to make him jump. That's illegal. You can't cut as a linebacker. You cannot cut an offensive lineman more than like 4 or 5 yards down the field. So if he's going to come base you, you can't go just dive bomb his ankles.
I got you.
That's a rule. That's a new
Yeah.
rule. I always love hitting them with, "Hey, that's a point of emphasis rule this year, right? That's point of emphasis. You can't do that.
Mm.
That's point of emphasis.
Yeah. Well,
It's
another thing for
illegal."
me, yeah, another thing for me too is that they'll come out with the sheet. They'll be like, "All right, here's all rule changes." And I'll go through and read them. We'll talk about them, and then knowing my dumbass, like we'll come to the game Friday nights, and I'm like, I become so oblivious to everything. I'm just in the moment, like completely forget everything that's going on. Like I've noticed
Right.
that recently about myself is just how oblivious. I already
I
know
had
I'm
a, I,
stupid. So
well, speaking of official, and I know we're talking about probably get off this after this once this is done. But had a JV game, so I argue that call. Like the linebacker was walking up and like again, you used to be able to do that,
Right.
and I'm on the numbers yelling at the official, say, "Hey, that's illegal. Can't do that." The point of emphasis rule. And I asked a guy on our sideline, he goes, "Guy, I'm just balanced with the coach. I've been doing this a long time. I don't even read the new rule book anymore." Okay.
Hey,
Hey,
especially like
I
at a JV
appreciate
game.
your yeah, I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah,
I
at a
do. I
JV game,
appreciate
you're lucky to get the normal
dude. It
calls
was
called.
oh, it was funny because the white hat of that crew, he goes, "Coach, I talked to that linebacker. I gave him a warning. I told him he does it again, it's gonna be a flag. But yes, that is right, coach. That is a he cannot do that. That is a rule. He cannot do that."
Yeah,
And that guy goes, "Oh, didn't know that."
there you go.
But again, he goes, "I've been in this a long time. They come up with new crap every year. I don't. I've read it a few times, but I just don't read the new rules usually." I'm like, "Fuck,
Yeah,
guy, come on, killing me." But hey,
I get.
appreciate you, man. I try
Yeah,
not to
absolutely.
yell at officials. I try just to talk to them. If I do,
Yeah, I don't.
I try to have a conversation. If I do,
Uh, yeah, I don't.
I I, I
I'm
usually
usually.
don't talk to them.
Yeah, I'm usually. For the most part.
Does Trevor rip him? Will he get after an
Uh,
official a little bit, or is
if
he kind
they're
of
if so, what I've seen from Owens is he's usually cool, calm, collected, wants to talk to him, kind of normal, kind of like mob like. Um, but he will get fired up if it's been a bad call or a couple of bad
over
calls in a row.
over and over and over again?
Yeah, or something to where they don't get called, but we get called for it, and it's at a big moment in the game, or something like that. Like that's the only really times he's been truly. He kind of blows up
Belligerent
on
to an
officials.
official.
Yeah, there was one time I was like his get back coach, like he was kind of getting after it, and ROC is similar. He was in the box for a majority of the year, so most of the time we heard his discretions through the headset. So he had to do like one of these, like kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So,
Going.
um, but he's ROC is kind of like he reminds me of you in terms of somebody who knows the rule book like in and out, and he'll call people out. He'll let officials know. It's actually entertaining because we call him like the walking rule book or whatever. You know what I mean? Because he's just so knowledgeable, but at the same time, like he's going to argue his case. You know what I mean? Whatnot. But
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty funny. But again, at the end of the day, though, shout out to all the officials that take their
Yeah,
time,
100%.
that go out there and do these games. All the
They
men
don't
and
have
women
to be
that
there.
participate. Yeah, they don't have to.
They,
They do
they
it
don't.
because they love the sport. They love the sport. Excuse me, and it's a little bit of an extra income for them as well. But
Mm-hmm.
and I know for sure that anybody who is signing up to be an official, like I used to ref soccer games and stuff like that too. But like getting into the official business, you're gonna have to have one for me. You're gonna have to understand and be like, you have to have thick skin and develop thick skin somehow to be an official, or you're not gonna last long because of just the natural nature of the beast of being an official. You're gonna hear no matter what you do on a Friday night.
Oh, dude. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no
I just
matter
know something.
what, no matter what you do on a Friday night, no matter what you do on a Tuesday or Friday night in the basketball court, whatever the case may be, every time you make a call, 50% of the people are going to love you. 50% of the people are going to hate you. You're never going to
Yep.
appease everybody in a stadium. So as long as you can develop thick skin and you can take, a coach chewing you out or a coach giving you praise or da 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 da, you'll be just fine because it's just how it is. It's just how the sport is.
So, funny moment happened this year. So we get a pick. Our linebacker just peels back on a kid.
Right.
Again, 10 years ago, freaking
Perfect play.
that's a great play. Great freaking play. That nowadays, it's a flag. And you got to throw it. And so our kid peels back on him. Our fans, they throw the flag. Our fans lose it. ROC walks over to, and they're just on this guy. ROC walks to the stands and says, "Parrots, listen. Before you start griping, know the rules."
Mm-hmm.
That was the right call. He cannot do that. You may not like it, but that was the right call. before you start complaining and yelling, know the rules. And he walks off.
There you go.
Like, yeah, hell yeah. That was awesome.
Absolutely.
I loved it because I cannot. That's the if I did not have to deal with parents,
Yeah.
or hear parents, or be around parents,
Okay, so here's the thing too. But like,
this
how
job
much?
would be awesome.
Oh, amen. How much better would parents and then like the stands on the game be if everybody
Make their ass
knew the rules, like actually knew the
better,
rules?
or make their ass officiate a game.
That's true. That's
Make
very
them
true.
officiate. But yeah,
Most of them don't want it
100%.
because they don't be put in that spot, so they'll be bitching and complaining
Well,
about other people that are in that
and
spot. So.
but the thing is too, it's like, yeah, they do, but you get those parents that played the game
Right.
25 years ago. Well, the rules are a little bit different now than 25 years ago.
And honestly, just because you play the game does not mean you know all the
You
rules.
know the game. That's why I hate basketball and baseball.
Mm.
Because there's probably a good chance that most parents, probably a handful of parents, played football, but not all
Mm-hmm.
parents play football. Probably everyone played baseball and basketball at one time in their life growing up, so they
Yeah.
think they know it.
Yeah,
And it's
it's
like,
annoying.
God dang, I
So
hate being around parents, and I sit as far away from our just parents in general at basketball and baseball games.
yeah, oh, yeah.
I'll sit like in the outfield. I just sit away from people because it just ticks me off
Yeah, everybody
listening
thinks
to
they're an
them.
expert on stuff, but
Oh, 100%. 100%.
yeah.
100%.
It's funny though because they think they're experts, and then like you put them in that role, and then it's just like they become like it's like one of those things like oh like I was just talking just to talk, right? You know what I mean? Like if they were to able to switch shoes, it'd be crazy to see the reactions of some of these people and what occurred. But that's for just a lot of stuff in life. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people that you know especially in the sports world where you have a bunch of armed couch quarterbacks, you know what I mean, that sit at home and be like, oh my God, what are you calling? You know what I mean? Why would you call that play there? That's so stupid. I mean, just the typical jargon that you see and all that. And, we're guilty of it too, but
yeah, I bet say, how many times on the couch you're watching Miami and you're watching them going, why?
yeah.
And you're going, why are we rushing two right
Yeah.
now?
It's 3rd and 1. We're in shotgun and we're going to run inside zone, and everybody in the world knows what we're about to do because that's what we always do, and it's going to get stuffed and we're going to punt. Why do we keep running it? You know what I mean? Why?
Yeah,
Why can't
it's
we?
like, God dang.
Why can't we do something different? Like how about quarterback sneak? That seems to work for the Eagles. How about everybody quarterback sneaks?
Speaking of that, who tried that the other day and did not make it? I think it was an NFL game. They're like 2 yards and the tush push did not work.
But it's the execution of the tush push. And I don't want to say like it's only the Eagles can run it because I really think any team can run a quarterback sneak. It's just going to be the mindset of the guys that go up front. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure in the Eagles huddle when they have whatever their play name is for it, the play call is for it, like that Kelsey and all those guys get fired up when they have that play come in.
Oh,
And
100%.
they're at the point now where everybody in the world knows that hey, if it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, it's coming. But then it's the time too where it's just like, all right, we drilled it, we know what we're doing, we're fired up, we're gonna execute. Can you stop us? And I don't think I've ever seen a tush push stop so far.
92% of the time.
Yeah, it's just every time I've seen it, I've always kind of thought to myself, I'm like, how do you stop that?
How about go on, sorry.
Well, I was gonna say because now what they've kind of incorporated too is they've kind of added the end around to it. Yeah, the end around, so you can't totally load up the box because they can just, he can just step, turn, give it to this guy. Now you gave him the edge. You know what I mean? So, and then it was the Seahawks they played the other night. Yeah, the Seahawks, but Bobby Wagner kept jumping over the pile
try
to grab Hurts, and I'm just like, all right, if you get really good momentum, you might be able to grab him and pull him backwards. But he's low and he's moving forward. Yeah, he's low and moving forward and driving his legs.
He's a thick boy.
Yes, he is. When you jump out of the air, you're losing all of your like the only thing that you're relying on now is momentum and strength of your like your upper body to pull a guy that's 230 plus, whatever he is, that's going
600. He squats 600 pounds.
That's driving you. That's just like it's. I appreciate your intent, but it's never going to work. Like you're never going to be able to just grab him and like suplex him over you and slam him down. Like it's not going to work.
Oh man, you see the Eagles game? They caught old Kelsey doing the old center trick that every center in America does. So they spot the ball, and you know how some centers will get that ball here and they'll move it up like like a half inch or a quarter inch or a full yard. Yeah, they caught old Jason Kelsey doing that the other day. I saw on Twitter, is Jason Kelsey a cheater? I'm not thinking to myself, just about every center in America that I know does something similar.
Yeah, if
advance the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a center that has a little bit of common sense to you. You know what I mean? Like you're going to grab that ball and like move it around a little bit, like move it up and down to kind of see where you can go. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Oh, we played.
They've been doing that forever.
We played Pecos, and their center. You could see it on film. Their center would get the ball and put it. He would get the ball here and move it forward a full yard. And we told the officials that, hey, this guy, the center, he will move the ball forward a yard. Please watch it.
Yeah. That's pretty fun.
And you could get like set in your stance and he just moves the ball forward a yard. Now you're offsides.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of the offside stuff, that's crazy too. But again, I got to understand a little bit more about all that stuff because, like, I was trying to read a little bit more about when the Kansas City Chiefs incident happened with Tony being lined up offsides. Now, obviously, that motherfucker was way past the ball.
Check with the official.
And I saw what a lot of people said, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he checked," but like when you watch the replay, he gets over there and he gets set and he does this. Literally, he does this. He looked and he looked. The official doesn't even have enough time to like.
Can I?
Yes.
Can I ask you something? You coach receivers, didn't you? You have.
No.
But you've been around receivers.
Yes.
So when you're coaching receivers, junior high, right? Well, you tell them, look the official.
Yep.
Point to him, and he'll say you back up or move forward.
Or you're good.
Yeah. Or you're good. He'll look at you and say you're good. When you're good, if he tells you move up, move up. Tells you to back up a little bit.
Yep.
But you check with him until he says you're good. Then you get your eyes on the ball.
Yep.
And it's the quarterback's job to make sure you're set.
Yep.
The quarterback's job is to get there, look. Oh, he's still moving. He's good. Down.
I agree.
It's junior high shit. And I get there. I guess we take it. You know, we're thinking, well, they're professionals. You know, but how many? Oh, sorry. I don't really notice NFL players checking with officials all that often. Like those outside receivers, especially that are usually on. They just kind of like line.
I think they kind of do give a little like.
They kind of get like a glance, like
yeah,
we're good, okay, because they got a lot of crap they got to do pre-snap.
Yeah, but for the most part too, like a lot of those outside guys, they're probably a lot of times used to lining up on the ball, so they have a pretty good idea of that. When you're jogging out there and they get lined up, they can look to see where they're at, and maybe do a quick check and all. You know what I mean? Like it's so almost second nature from it because they do it all the time. Maybe I don't know.
and to be fair too, it's one of those things. I think too, especially in the NFL. Those outside receivers, they get out there,
Yeah,
like they get like on the numbers or on the bottom of the numbers sometimes, and the
shit's
officials like 4 yards from you, he probably
yeah,
can look over there. Am I good?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you can just, or if you line up and you can just hear them, you know what I mean? Like, hey, back up or whatever. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
but shit, like sock, I felt like sock a lot of times when they got into like a lot of their 2x2 sets, the outside guys were almost lined up like a yard or two away from the sideline. Like that's how
How
spread out it
wide they're
felt like they
getting.
were. Yeah. Now, of course, a lot of times they would try to. It seemed like they were trying to widen out PNG and this run counter or power uh,
Mm-hmm.
in the middle, which they had great success. But that's another thing. Like, there's a guy on Twitter, another coach here in Texas. He's just like, is it me or is it just like 5A and 6A? Like they lack creativity when they run the ball or in that run game. And I was just like, after watching Sock and them play, and after watching this Duncanville, North Shore, and I'm pretty sure it would have been the same after watching DeSoto. But like when you have the cats, the Jimmies and Joes, like you don't necessarily have to get creative in the run game. If you can run
Correct.
power and everybody can get on their block and you can pull and hit, get the play side linebacker and bust a run or get 45 yards of chop, you don't have to get too creative or fancy in a run game because you don't need to.
We were talking about this at Greenwood, and you see this a lot with the 5A 6A guys. Okay, those guys are more. They have so many good athletes. It's literally that's why the spread works really well a lot of times
Right.
with those 5A 6As. To
Yeah.
me, in my opinion, is hey, I have cats, you got cats. Whose cats are better?
Yeah.
Now at your lower levels, at your probably small school 5A and down, that's when you start seeing the slot tee. That's when you start seeing the wing tee, the flex
Yeah.
bone, you just different sets and different stuff just to try to give you that little bit of advantage formation wise.
Right. I agree.
And so you see a little more variety of formations in
Yeah,
terms of the
absolutely.
small school. Just so you try to out leverage them.
Yeah, or just like you said, you know, at the smaller classifications, I would, obviously 2A to maybe even 4A for the most part. Like, now I know 5A you got Liberty Hill for the most part, but I feel like a lot of times it's more 4A and down is where you'll see more of the wing tee, slot tee stuff. The different types of offenses to give your kids the best shot of winning because watching Duncanville and North Shore on Saturday, which wasn't as good as the previous games in that series have been, but Duncanville's just better in my opinion now.
Yeah.
But those two teams on the field, the kids that were playing, there were 30 either current, and this is a combination of current and future. There were 30 Division One kids playing.
I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, no, yeah, I saw it on. Oh, yeah, I believe it too. I saw it on Twitter, but
I
like
believe. I
there
mean,
are
100%.
30 plus D1 kids are playing in that game. Probably in the DeSoto game with Humboldt, there's probably DeSoto themselves probably have 10 to 15 kids that are going to play D1. So it's different. So like in the lower classifications, like
You may get 2 or 3.
yeah, you may get 2 or 3 if you're lucky every once in a while. But at the same time, too, you may not have the kids that can line up and run spread offense, or have the kids that can line up and run a wing tee. Because, for me, when you run a spread offense, you got to have kids that can not only
Throw,
utilize the
throw and
field
catch.
north and south,
Throw and
but east and
catch.
west, but throw and catch and stuff like that. And then like wing tee, you got to have kids that can have a mindset that we're going to murder you
We're
when
gonna
we
be
run the ball.
we're going to be tougher than you for
Yeah,
4 quarters. We're gonna have the mindset of we're going to be tougher than you. And I
yeah,
don't care how many guys you put in the box, we are going to be tougher. And we're going to be a lot better of executing our stuff than you are at stopping it.
right. That's always curious, like because
Oh, I
obviously
know, because
we always
that's
talk
our
about
that's our
yeah,
mentality here at the Velt
yeah,
is
absolutely,
we were in the flex mode. You have a week, you have 4 days to prep for it,
right.
and we're going to be a lot better of executing our stuff than you are at trying to simulate our
Stop it.
stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, for sure. Obviously, like I've seen that the last couple of years. Like when we would prepare for Belleville, we try to run their
The slot.
slot T.
It's
We
a
got
cluster, isn't it? At practice. Practice is
somewhat,
a cluster.
cluster, but we got a mixture of maybe backup varsity guys and JV guys trying to run it at a certain speed. You know what I mean? And then you get to Fridays, and it's just a well-oiled machine. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different. I
Right.
feel spread is a little bit easier to prepare for.
Oh,
You know,
100%.
obviously, if you have the Jimmies and Joes, you can't prepare for that. Like if they got stud receivers or stud quarterback, you can't necessarily prepare for that. You know what I mean? Uh, but understanding, in spread offense most of the time, their inside zone, outside zone, counter power for the most part are going to be their main staples running wise. So as long as you know how to fit that up, you can be okay. And then the passing game is just whatever their main concepts are, and you just run them. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who's running them as long as you understand the routes and
Yeah.
stuff like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. What they're trying to accomplish.
yeah,
100%. Well, man, everything else going pretty good with y'all.
everything's great. We're on a 3 week break now, which I feel is going to be both a blessing and a curse. A blessing that we get 3 weeks off, a curse that it's going to be kind of one of those things where it's too long because it gets to the point where you don't want to go back. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's good. It's a nice little chance for us to reset, spend some time. I want to try to make. I want to start to try to make better use of my time. Uh, I want to go back over our special team units from this past year and kind of go through and dive into that to kind of see where some of our strengths were, what are some things we need to get better at as we, so when the spring gets here and we're able to work on it a little bit, we can have some areas of, emphasis, if you will. Um, and then, of course, January is going to be clinic time, so it's going to be fun. I think we're planning on, uh, we got the clinics coming up, so we got like D.B.A.B and stuff like that. But anyway, everything else is good. Everything else is good. So just ready for the holidays, see family and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure. Uh, how's it going over there in Lubbock?
Good, man. About the same. I want to kind of get back and kind of look at our stuff. I still want to, you know, try to learn our offense a little bit better, understand like why we do some of the stuff we do.
Right.
We're going to the Harding Clinic in February, late February,
Let's
so that's gonna be
go.
fun.
Heck yeah.
So
National champs, baby.
yes, so we were talking. There's gonna be a lot of people at the Harding Clinic, I bet, this year
Oh, for
because
sure.
they
Absolutely.
and so we're talking. I wouldn't mind going watching Eastern, like a spring
Yep.
practice at Eastern New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, go really want to just go talk to coaches this year. Is I try to do that a lot, but it just never seems to
Yeah.
work out the last few year or two. So I
Yeah.
want to try to do that, and because I feel like I learn so much more when I'm able to just to sit down with just people I know, people I respect, and
Yeah.
just talk to them, talk ball with them,
Yeah. That's what
ask
hopefully,
questions, and
yeah. Hopefully I can kind of break out of my shell when I go to some of the clinics this year because I want to have more of a focus on, the same stuff of
networking.
networking, but like when I talk to people, like if I can come across people that, work with special teams. So like trying to like, you
Hmm.
know, talk special teams and
I
stuff
need
like that.
to. When are you gonna be in Lubbock, man?
Let me see. So I know we're gonna do Christmas stuff, like actual Christmas Day, like kind of fun activities. I think we're doing them at my sister's house, and then she plans on going like a Wednesday through Sunday type deal over to Lubbock. So uh,
Okay,
I'll probably hop in with them, be there. So it's gonna be after Christmas, but
okay,
I'll let you know because I might decide to drive over by myself if I have more time. But I'll let
that
you know.
sounds good. I'm gonna see. I don't know. I'm gonna figure something out. Yeah, I wanna try to maybe make my way to freaking y'all's way a little bit
Come on.
and just kind of hang out. I know Girlfriend's she's in Corpus right now. She's coming back the 30th
She's in Corpus
of
again.
June. Yeah, visit family for Christmas for family,
I gotcha.
and so she's there. I dropped her off the night yesterday. Had to think
Okay.
what freaking dad dropped her off at the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday dropped her off at the airport, and yeah, so
Okay.
she's in Corpus visiting family.
Yeah. Well, you're always gonna be welcome to come this way because you got a place to stay here with me. Trevor, his family just moved into their new house, so they might have somewhere for you to crash over there. Maybe the couch. You seem to like falling asleep on couches,
I don't,
whatnot. So,
dude. If it's a comfy couch, I don't care,
but
man. Like
you got people over here, so
100%. And I like to, I want to kind of, talk to coming up there, coming to Peaster, and talk to y'all's guys, and just talk and you know, kind of see what's up with Trevor, see how he's doing.
yeah, come on, man. Like,
You know,
our you come and talk like our ROC will definitely sit down and talk some ball with you. So he's one of those guys that he can sit down and talk football forever. So
right? The when when do y'all go back?
ooh, like
We
the
go back the
eighth.
8th. We go
Yeah, I
back
think
the
we
8th as
have.
well.
I think on the 8th we have like a teacher work day, and I think we start back the
Hmm.
ninth or something like that. So
Yeah. I may make my way back. I may drive over there.
I will say that I believe it's from the 4th through the 6th. I think it's like a Thursday through a Saturday. I will be out of town. I will be in Sin City for the first time ever. So looking forward towards that. So
Nice. The 4th through the 6th.
I think so. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, right before
Yeah. It's like
y'all go back.
yeah.
So it would almost have to be like January 2nd and 3rd.
You come over for my birthday. Let's go. We'll get Liddy on a
When's your
Monday.
birthday?
On the 2nd.
The second's a Tuesday.
Let's go on a Tuesday. We'll go up on a Tuesday.
You know, I may go do that. I may do that. I may drive to Old Peaster the second, hang out second, third, and leave the like I said, leave January 3rd or the 4th early.
Let's go.
I may look at doing that, man, because like I said, I got a freaking dentist appointment the 27th. So next Wednesday I have a dentist appointment in Lubbock. Oh, something pretty cool happened to me today though. It wasn't no
Let's
be the
go.
light moment, but
Let's go.
freaking I'm going through some stuff, my wallet,
Uh
and I
huh.
found a HSA card, a health savings account. So
Okay.
when I was at Greenwood, you could pick this plan and you could be and they would pay like I think it was like $100 or $150 a month into this HSA account.
Yeah.
Basically, you just use it for like health stuff. So like doctor appointments, prescriptions, stuff like that, you
Okay.
know. And so I'm going through my wallet. I get an email from the bank they used all the time saying, "Hey, here's your account." Well, I've never set the account up. I
Right.
never called them because I was never sick in Greenwood. So I was just like, oh, whatever, you know. And so I'm going through my wallet and I find this card. Well, I got told my freaking insurance only pay once for cleanings, like once a year or once every 6 months
Mm-hmm.
for the cleaning. So I'm gonna have to pay this money out of pocket. Well, it's like $200, $250 for this cleaning. I'm gonna have to do, which I'm not too excited about that, but besides the point. So I call him and said, "Hey, is this like I was going through my stuff, saw y'all's email from me. I found the card, but just curious what's." She goes, "Here, let me look you up." And she goes, "Yeah, the account's still open. There's no restrictions on it."
Let's
I
go.
go, "Can I get a new card?" She goes, "Yes, you can." we can send it to you. Say, hey, I'll be in Midland this week. Can I just swing by and talk to y'all and see if y'all can issue me a HSA card?
Yeah.
Or if I can just at least update my address because y'all have my Midland address, not my Lubbock address now.
Yeah.
I just told her, so this account got opened like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Haven't used it, and just kind of like just stumbled upon it.
Right.
I just remembered it. And she goes, "Yeah, we can see, we can try to hook you up." Awesome, thank you, ma'am. So
That's awesome.
so it
I know I had one in Sealy's with the health savings account stuff that I would get stuff in the mail for, and I get a certain amount in the account. I think I have the card somewhere, but it's like one of those things. When it comes to like signing up for benefits,
I'm
honestly, like
awful.
I don't, yeah, I need somebody. I need a significant other in my life that can go through and be like, "Hey, this is good. Don't do this." Blah blah blah. Because I just, for the most part, I just go through and I'm like, "All right, dental. What's the cheapest one? Good. Eyes. I got pretty good eyesight. Cheapest one. Good." Like I'm just like, I just pick the cheapest options. Everything they got.
Oh, 100%. I
I
got
have no idea how to use it.
yeah, and she's real big on like go to get a primary care physician, which I've never had one in my life.
Oh,
So get
I
a
got,
PCP. So I
I
got
got
to
to
sign
start.
up, try
Yep.
to get a PCP, try
Yep.
to get dentist. I mean, it's like fuck.
Yes. Now I will
She goes,
say I have used the dentist benefits when I was in Sealy, which basically was it felt like a 50-50 split. Like they covered half, I had to cover the other half because I had to get I got a couple of crowns put on and stuff like that. So it
mm-hmm.
helped out a little bit. But speaking of the PCP, like um, I know here I had to pick one, so I just like randomly picked one, and of course I picked a female that was pretty good looking. You know, if I get to pick, I'm gonna pick whichever one's more whatever. So
You'll go to
yeah,
more
you know what I
likely
mean. But I
more
picked
likely
this.
to go to.
Yeah, I picked this doctor. She obviously, and I was like, all right, cool. I'll just pick her. Never had I don't really knock on wood or whatever. I don't really go to the doctor much, anything like that. So I just picked her and never thought anything of it. You know what I mean? Then never really thought to like, hey, try to schedule an appointment to be a new patient so I could at least be on their books instead of having to go there for the first time and all this other typical stuff
Fill out
that
all the
smart
other crap.
yeah that maybe some other smart people would have done. Just kind of let bygones be bygones. So my dumbass, after Saturday, getting back Saturday from the state games and meeting out with obviously was there with Jack, so we went out, ate afterwards, whatever. So I got home. Well, I had this spot on my forehead that felt like a pimple, but it was kind of like underneath the skin. And I was just like, all right, I'm gonna poke this thing and we're gonna give it a whirl and we're gonna see what comes out. Because that's just how I am. I can't just leave it there. So I go with it, poke a couple holes, do all the typical stuff.
Press on it.
Nothing comes out with blood. So I kind of like, you know, try to stop the bleeding, put a piece of paper over it. Well, then go to bed and fall asleep. Don't really
Piece of
take care of
paper.
it. Well, like a toilet paper.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking like
Nah,
scratch paper.
no, a piece of
You
toilet
got
paper
your
to kind of help absorb the
clinic book
bleeding or
and
whatever.
yeah.
And kind of laid down and fell asleep. So I didn't really tend to it properly, I guess, or whatever. So the next day, woke up and woke up on Sunday, and I was over the course of Sunday, like it started to like swell up a little bit here, and then started to come over my eyes. So I was just thinking, the hell's going on? You know what I mean? So and then I met my sister and them, and we went to Grapevine for stuff, and it started to swell up a little bit more. And she's like, "Oh, it's probably infected. You know, better go treat it." All stuff. All right, whatever. So Monday, wake up Monday. It literally looks like Monday. It looks like I got punched in the right side of my face. That's how like it's swollen. It looks like, you know what I mean? So,
Dang, dude.
um, just like, of course, right? Never happened before. Great way to officially start break. This happens. So, she's telling me to go see the doctor and all this kind of stuff. And knowing me, like, I'm just like, all right, what's the least restrictive way, most easiest way to get this treated, right? And so at first I tried to do the teledoc, and I'm sitting on the phone call for 30 minutes. Finally hang up there. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Then I drive to CVS. I'm like, all right, I'm going to consult with the pharmacist, see what they say. Maybe they can help out. Called beforehand, told them I'd come in. So they come in, look at it, and they're like, yeah, you need to go see a doctor. And I was like, okay. Got my little card, right? And then it has my PCP on it. So I try to call, nobody answers. Drive over to her office. As soon as I get there, they're out for lunch. So, I dilly that around and then go back when they back open at 1. Walk in. Hey, how's it going? She's a PCP. I, signed up for blah, blah, blah. New patient, da, da, da. The lady's like, well, she's booked until June for new patients. And so I was like, all right, thank you very much. Turned around and walked out. So that was a waste of time there. And then finally I was just like, all right, I guess I'll just go to the urgent care. So I popped in, and then they said the estimated wait time for a walk-in on, I think it was Sunday. No, Monday was 2 to 3 hours. And so I just scheduled an appointment for Tuesday morning, and I went home. And eventually Tuesday I went and talked to him, got all the stuff I needed to, been on medication, and has now gone down to where it almost looks like it's just a giant pimple on my forehead. Mm-hmm. So progress is being made. So we're good.
Good.
It was chaotic. It was chaotic. It also kind of shows, like, it just goes back to my mindset of fuck all this, because it's just a waste of time and too many hoops to jump through. But maybe if I knew what was going on better, it would have been an easier process. But oh well, I don't know. Well, maybe lessons were learned. Maybe not. Yeah,
is what it is.
At end of the day, I got medicine. I learned a lesson, and we're just gonna roll forward. So this is how it's gonna be. So I'm gonna be like one of those. I know you gotta go real quick, but I'm gonna be one of those fuckers that dies when I could have avoided it by going to the doctor. I'm like, I'm good, I'm fine, and then croak the next day or whatever. Because
you get a simple infection, and it just gets out of control.
Yeah, I'm tough. I'm a man. I'm gonna beat it out, and then just it gets me. But.
I've made that comment too, and Alexis goes, "No."
I think
it's. Do you want to die? Do you want to die early?
I think it's a common thing for people, not just men, but for young people that have no idea how all that stuff works.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, you don't necessarily get
you're invincible.
Well, that too, but like with our job with the benefits stuff, yeah, they give you the paperwork, but like you don't really train to go through all the processes of doing everything. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and 100%, and for what we do, it's more of a hassle to miss work,
yes,
than to go to work. Like it's a bigger headache. Honestly, teaching, it's more work and more of a headache to be gone for the day than it is to just be at work than be in class.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I can't tell you how many times, like, if I'd have missed something, and I'm thinking, oh, I hope my little shitheads don't act a fool today. If I get a freaking sub note, I'm going to be pissed.
Right.
And I usually try to tell them like a day or two in advance, like, hey, won't be here. I'll be out. Hey, I'll be out. Don't piss off the sub.
Yep. Anyways, I know you got to run.
Yes,
so do I. I got to get back to watching. I've been on a binge watch recently since I've been home. Like I watched. Mm-hmm. I'm into Monarch Legacy of Monsters. You know what I mean? Like I'm a big fan into those type of movies. So like TV shows, I've been watching that, which has been pretty good. New episode Friday. Okay.
Got one for you. Reacher.
Yep. I was just about to say that. I got Reacher's a great show. I watched the first season when it came out.
I just finished episode 1 today.
Of season 2?
Yes.
Great. It's fantastic. Bro. I've been watching. I watched all 3 of the first episodes that released yesterday. So now I got to wait till Friday. So,
bro,
great show. You watched the first season, right?
Yes. Oh, it's so good. And
it's so good.
he does who's the actor? What's his name? It's Thad from Blue Mountain State.
Yeah, I almost said Thad Castle, but I think that's his name on Blue Mountain. But
yeah,
yes,
Alan Richardson is the
yes,
actor's name.
yes.
Dude,
He's phenomenal.
Because he's huge.
He's fucking
Like,
gigantic.
he's a big dude. He's a big
Yes.
dude. But
if I could go to heaven and ask God, like, hey, can I be like redrawn? Can you make me like him?
You want
That'd
his
be one of the guys.
you want his genetics.
Yeah, I want to look just like Thad Castle.
All right.
Alan
All right,
Richardson.
man. All right, bro.
But anyways, Cletus, thank you as always. It's always a blessing and a joyous time to be together, even though it's just the two of us, right? Just like Will says, it's always a great time to come together and we just talk about whatever. We talked about sports, but we kind of talked about it from a different angle tonight. Hopefully our listeners, our viewers can enjoy it. You know, just trying to be a little bit real, seeing how our minds work and all that fun stuff. But without further ado, we didn't even have our title page or music, but guess what? Fuck it. We don't need it, right? It sounds pretty shitty on the other side either so we'll find a way to make that better. But you know what it is, the D.B.A.B podcast, anywhere podcasts can be found, Apple, Spotify, all the above. We're also on YouTube and on the X, right, aka formerly known as Twitter. So go like us, repost us, follow us, whatever the case may be. But you know what it is. Appreciate you being here. Remember to always be the light. Peace and love, baby.
See ya.